Okay, Lloyd, we had a great discussion on the victim, but who's up next? Are we thinking of the villain?
We're thinking of the villain.
Okay, tell us about the villain.
Well, one, it's maybe the more charming role and the more manipulative and the stronger and the smarter and everything like that. So it has a lot of juice in it. It's a very juicy role. But how most people get there, all right, is like with the anger that builds up as a victim. It's like if they were abused, there is an emotional toxins that they're always trying to get rid of. Now, if they take it internally, of course, they become more the victim. But if they're trying to discharge it and get rid of it, and they don't do it in what I call very good ways, like through sports, running, things like that, is like even as children, everything, they are going to throw it and become a villain and hurt. And what they get out of hurting is they feel so justified for the pain that they have inside. And it is that pain that's always being tried to discharge. And when you're revenge and you hurt somebody, especially if you can justify it. You see, I'm still talking about a more of a good person, justifying their hurts, right? And they're a good person, and they're a good person that got hurt, and now they have turned, all right? Those people you can rehabilitate. They are, yes, you can do it.
But how do you get the villain in a relationship? I mean, if you're in a relationship, someone you love them, you want the best for them, you start off anyway, never wanting to hurt them. You always want to, be helpful. How does suddenly someone turn into a villain in the middle of a loving relationship?
They got hurt. Here's how it usually works. If they get in a relationship, they think it's a loving relationship, and pretty soon on, they let this relationship put them down and act superior to them and treat them inferior. It's like, well, hey, what happened that you let this person start treating you as you were inferior? In other words, what happened that you let this person start treating you as if you didn't have value? Anytime you let somebody criticize you and put you down, it's starting to build up. Some people will react immediately. See, they'll go into fight or they'll go into flee, but some people can't, and they build and they build. And those are the people who will start hurting, and they don't finish till they feel they have balanced the books. See? And it's like, you go, wow. Now you get two people, right? And neither one of them feels safe with the other. You have got each other putting them down. It's like War of the Roses on both sides. So both of them became the villains. What will eventually happen, if they are good people, eventually one or the other will say, I just don't like myself with you. That's a key question in a relationship. Do you like yourself in that relationship? If you don't and you became the bad guy, it's like, oh my God, I'm not bad. I don't want to be in this relationship if I have to continue to be the bad person. And that person will eventually get out one way or the other. The usual way, villain way, is they'll go off and have an affair, right? That'll cut the cord and then they can get out. But good people, if they are hurting each other, it will blow up because you can't do it for too long. See, it's like you're violating the deep down goodness. You lose that. And when you lose that, you don't have any chance for the heart. And now you're all in the mind in justifications. So the relationship is no longer good for you. All right, so pure villains. So I'm talking about what happens that it can go to villain. But the pure villain, I'm having to tell you, don't make any mistake about it. They love to hurt. And I did prison work in Hawaii, and I did it in outside of Asheville, North Carolina, in one of the state prisons. And I have to tell you, there wasn't one soul that I talked to that was guilty. They all had it justified to the max as up to why. And the only ones that I saw, which I was able to work with some, but it's mainly through radio show that I had, is there was one that would call in from the prison and things like that. And you help them go back and start to get rid of the hurt. And if they could get rid of the hurt, and one extreme, it was an extreme case, but there was one in prison who his father had killed his kittens, had taken them and put them into a river. And he had anger and rage, and he really became a villain as a teenager and never quit. So you regress people, you find those hurts, and then you can rehabilitate it, but not a true villain. They'll stay that way their whole life.
So it sounds as if a way out is to really, if you think you might be in a villain role, it's to focus on where you feel pain and to really look at that.
Yes, but I can tell you, usually you have to have someone there with you. The pain will be too great. It'll just put you out.
Okay.
And it'll put you out. That's why you're trying to constantly get rid of it. That's why they'll go to the drinking or too much drugs or something. It's not that drinking's bad, it's too much. It's the excess that turns them into, it's okay to do whatever they want.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.